Welcome back to Tarot by the Bay. I'm David. Okay, because of popular demand, I get to read on Kex Paxton. Not one of my favorite people in this world. This is in a case involving a woman whose last name is Cox, Kate Cox, or Kate Cox. She's about 5 months pregnant, it appears, and there's a problem with the pregnancy, and the chances of her delivering the baby's going to be dead by the time she delivers it. That's what several doctors have told her. And they've also told her that if she carries the baby to term, there's a reasonable chance she will never be able to have children again. So she is trying to get an abortion. And she got a district court to basically allow her to get an abortion and not face any legal consequences in Texas. Well, Kex Paxton couldn't have that now, could he? Because clearly a woman's choice should be between her doctor, and the state attorney general. They must have left that part off the legislation. So anyway, he's suing and got the Supreme Court to put a stay on that district court judge's ruling, and the Supreme Court's going to be ruling on this issue. He also, the judge said that basically she would not be liable, nor would the hospital or doctors be liable if they performed that abortion on her. And Paxton is saying, oh, yes, you will. You'll all be felons and you can spend up to 20 years in prison for doing this. So we all know where I'm going to fall on this one. But I want to read on the energy here and try and figure out what's happening. Now, while I was overhand shuffling the cards, reading on this, the first card that came out was the Three of Cups, which is the women celebrating, and the Devil card. So we'll see where this reading goes. Entertainment purposes only. What's the energy around this abortion case? Ace of Swords. I think in this case, both sides, this is going to be the hill that both sides are willing to die on, figuratively speaking. This is going to be that, I mean, this truly is the case that for the Republicans, it's kind of their worst nightmare because, you know, you're not allowed to have abortions. You know, sometimes they'll give you the caveat in case of rape or incest or something along those lines, or if the baby is going to be stillborn. So here's a case of a woman who's a mother of two. So it's not like she's using it as birth control. You know what I mean? And this child is basically dead. It's going to be a stillborn child. So, and if you make her take it to term, she can't have more kids later, which is the whole point of this anti-abortion thing, is to force a bunch of white people to have kids so that non-white people, the minorities in this country, don't become the majorities. Not to mention it gives you more young people to be sick and uneducated in the workforce working for peanuts, because you need a slave class so that the oligarchs can make all their money and live well. But that's for another reading. So this is the Republicans' worst case scenario, because this is a white, probably Christian, mother of two, and the baby's stillborn, and you're putting the mother's health at risk for future pregnancies, because you're going to insist that she can't get a termination on a pregnancy that's not viable. Crossed with the Ten of Pentacles. Interesting, this card's reversed. I don't normally read reversals, but I'll read this one as a reversal. It's about generations. This could be about money. This could be about health. But this is, you know, going from old generations to younger generations. In the reverse, you know, it's killing off the generations. It's severing the generational ties between grandparents, parents, and kids. Now, again, I think the pro-lifers would say, if you abort all the babies, then there won't be a next generation. But if you force this woman to have this child, she won't be able to have any other children. Or there's a chance she may not be able to have any other children in this. Not to mention, there's just a bunch of money that's coming through here that, you know, everybody's fundraising off of this. But, you know, in the end of the day, if really what you should be looking at is the woman's health, but they're looking at this dead fetus's health before the mother's health. I think that's really what this is saying. Oh, what's underneath it? King of Wands. So this is probably Paxton, forcing the issue because this is going to be one of those things that he uses for his re-election and his fundraising, because he's going to be a champion of the pro-life movement. That's how he's going to cast himself. And he doesn't seem to give a toss about the mom's health at all in this one. In the past, we've got the Nine of Cups. To me, this is the Republican Party getting Roe v. Wade overturned in the Supreme Court and then passing their draconian laws in their states, attacking women's rights and the women's right to choose and the women's rights to have an abortion or not have an abortion. So sitting there smug as a bug in a rug, everything's great until it's not. And now you've got a case that people can relate to that seems like an exception that they should be willing to make an exception for. Current situation, the Ten of Cups. The pro-lifers are going to say that this is, this is trying to preserve families and preserve the rights of fetuses and such. But, on the one hand, they're saying they're supporting families, but on the other hand, they're putting this woman through an absolute hell. That it's already bad enough. She knows that she's 5 months pregnant and the baby's going to be stillborn. And I know from looking at the demographics of my videos that a majority of my viewers are women. About 3-1. And the majority of them have enough life experience that they might have had a miscarriage. They might have had a stillborn baby that they had to abort. And they understand the pain. They understand the drama and the trauma that a woman's going to go through to make this decision to abort this. This isn't some elective surgery for a convenience of your lifestyle. This is soul-crushing things that a mother that was going to be a mother of 3 now has to make, because that third child is not going to be born alive. And to have somebody like this come in and tell you what you can and cannot do makes an already horrific decision just a magnitude worse. All because they're saying, oh, well, you should be careful about that. Well, what about her current family? What about her 2 kids that she does have? And maybe she wants to have another kid. It's just, this is not this human body, this little baby's body is not going to be viable for the soul to come in and have a meaningful life. So why are you forcing her to have that child when she could abort it and then try again if she wants to? It's not like she's aborting it because it's got brown eyes instead of blue eyes. You know what I mean? We haven't gotten there yet. Oh, jeez. Okay. This one was also coming out upside down. I have to check my deck because I'm having reversals in here. But Queen of Swords, let's again review it as a reversal. This woman should be the one who gets to make a decision on her body and her pregnancy. It shouldn't be the King of Wands making it. She should be the one making it. She gets the information from her doctor and she gets to make that decision. But now they're taking that decision away from her. And they're trying to get the Supreme Court to back up the fact that this woman who's holding the sword right here doesn't get to choose. They're trying to take away her ability to make her decisions. And mind you, this is not a heartfelt, warm, fuzzy. This is a very ruthless decision that needs to be made. Lesson to be learned. Knight of Cups. The GOP will go forward and say how they're there to represent the infant's rights. And they're very sorry about this horrible thing that this woman's going through. But she needs to carry it to term anyways because families. And it's just, it doesn't resonate. It doesn't make any sense because they're the GOP talking out of both sides of their mouths. And by GOP, I mean the pro-lifers here. Talking out of both sides of their mouth. They're there, they say they're for pro-life, yet this child in this pregnancy is not going to be born alive. You're not killing something that's already dead. And you're also risking this woman's ability to have children in the future. Yet you're going to argue that the reason why you want her to have the baby is so that she can have children. What's the outcome? The Fool card. I think she's going to go through with the abortion. She may not be able to do it in state. She might have to go out of state to do it. Now, Texas has laws in place basically saying if you go out of state, then, that doesn't get you off the hook. You can still be held accountable. Well, I guess part of that is if you march your butt back to Texas afterwards. Welcome to California, hon. You get to have rights out here. So this could be an instance where she goes to California, gets an abortion. Now, she could go back and force this case through. And I'll read into that. The worst thing that happens is that she's incarcerated and she becomes a martyr for the cause. And if the Democrats make it in 2024 and take office in 2025 and overturn, basically write laws codifying women's reproductive rights, then this case can be sued and overturned. And this woman basically can become a mouthpiece, a focal point for the women's rights movement. This is how you people are born into civil rights movements, by being just oppressed, repressed, and just basically treated like this. You could be creating a really powerful enemy by doing that. By you, I mean the pro-lifers. She could go to California and not come back. That's always an option too. By California, I mean any state that allows an abortion, and not go back. The family just moves. Unless Texas somehow feels they need the need to extradite her back to Texas for a crime she didn't commit in their state. Paxton, I tell you what. Okay. The Supreme Court needs... The Texas State Supreme Court needs to rule on this. How are they going to rule? How are they going to rule on this one? They're going to come to an agreement. I'm hopeful this means with the woman here that this would be an exception to that, and it's okay for her to do that. I think this means they're going to uphold the district court's opinion. Yeah, I think. There's your sort of justice underneath there. I think what they're going to say is that the law isn't clearly defined, and it needs to be better defined. That because the law is not very clear on instances like this, they're going to look for what's in the best health of the woman, and they're going to agree that in this case, this district court's ruling can be upheld, and she can have the abortion in Texas. That's what I'm thinking this means. Let's take a look further. I think that the Texas Supreme Court's been dreading cases like this coming. We're kind of in new territory, being that we had Roe v. Wade for the better part of 50 years before it got overturned. And now you have to start deciding case law on what used to be a right for women up until last year. And it's just hard on the justices because they're conservative justices. They have to balance their conservative viewpoints with what the law is. Or if they're liberal judges, they have to balance their viewpoints with what the law is. It's not an easy case for them to decide. Yeah, you don't think it's an easy case for you to decide? How about being the mom in this case, huh? Person who's got this the easiest is Paxton. Current situation, Page of Cups. They're looking at this situation I think they're looking at this situation as this is really an outlier. And I think that's why they're willing to make an exception. There's not a lot of abortions that are going to happen because of the condition this woman has. You know what I mean? That's kind of, I think, how they're going to justify. That's currently how they're going to justify things. Overarching energy is the star. The calm after the storm. Lighting the way, women's rights. This case may open the door for more women's rights in Texas and the ability to have a little bit more daylight for women and the right to choose an abortion in that state. It's not going to be more restrictive. I think it's going to be less restrictive. Yeah. Okay. And then you got the Queen of Pentacles, and I've often pointed out this card looks like a mom with a baby on her lap. That this is not a case of, this is not elective. This is not because this woman's doing birth control. Having an abortion gives her a better chance of having children in the future. And so if this child is pretty much, most doctors agree, this child's going to be dead. It's going to be stillborn. They're also not only looking at the rights, like this baby's dead, now why are we going to do this? But you're also impacting her ability to have children in the future, which is the spirit of the law. Even if you disagree with it, that's the spirit, is they want more babies. And because that's kind of the spirit of the law, I think that's why she's going to be able to have an abortion in Texas. And this card looked like it was coming upside down. So outcome is the Page of Swords. Maybe it's the Page of Swords reversed. But it's going to be that basically that this young woman, I don't know how old she is, and the article didn't say, but this woman is going to be able to go forward with what her choices are. That doesn't mean that that's not going to be challenged, because Paxton is not being... I can't imagine Paxton's going to let this go without some type of power play or fight or something along those lines. But it looks like the Supreme Court is going to rule in her favor on this one. So she may not have to go to California after all to get this. It just, here's the question. How quickly are they going to rule? Right? And it could very well be by the time that Page of Swords could be, by the time they've ruled, she's already done the act. Because she can't wait for them to decide what's going to happen. So, take a trip. Either does it in Texas, or takes a trip. Will this woman get her abortion in Texas or abroad? Will this woman get her abortion in Texas, or will she go abroad for it? I don't understand these people. I just don't. She's not sure yet. She's weighing the pros and cons of doing it versus not doing it, going abroad versus staying there. She's worried that she's going to go to prison. She absolutely is worried she's going to go to prison. Because the Attorney General is going to come after her. He's going to bring his big guns to go after her. And she's probably not a person of means. How are they going to afford to fight this? Got the King of Swords. The Strength card. Of course. Of course. She's not sure what to do because Paxton is all in on his on his anti-abortion kick. This could be her husband. This could be an attorney that she has. This could be a doctor. But there's going to be some energy here that helps her make her choice. I think she's concerned that she won't have the money to fight this, or that she could be incarcerated, and then what happens with her 2 kids she does have. But I think this could also represent civil rights groups stepping up to help her and giving her the strength to fight this. So yeah, I think civil rights groups are gonna bolster her to help her make a decision, because right now she's torn between doing what she thinks is in her best health interest versus the pressure she's going to be getting from the Texas government and then all the Looney Tunes that are going to come descending at her house, at her work, at her kids' schools, at the church she goes to, etc., etc., etc. What happens with Ken Paxton because of this case? Are there any repercussions for Ken Paxton? He said wanting the answer to be yes. But of course, I want it to be yes too for him to be impeached. And well, that didn't work out now, did it? Funny thing when you've got a PAC with lots of money to donate to people. What's the fallout for Paxton for this? There's a decision that needs to be made. Is that because he was contemplating continuing this fight? We're letting it go? Queen of Wands. King of Wands to the Queen of Wands. Yeah, he's going to... What's going to happen with Paxton is I think the court case comes against him, and then he has to plan what his next move is. I hate saying this with the King of Wands and the Queen of Wands because I don't want the Queen... People think the Queen is being subservient to the King. It's just different energies. It could just be the Queen of Wands is, hey, soften up here a little bit, pal. You don't need to be this draconian male. But I think in this case, I really am going to go with he's been knocked down a peg. Just he goes from a king to a queen. He goes down one step in authority. It's like on the upside of this, he realized he's overstepped his authority and maybe he should be a little more compassionate towards people in their plights. But really what I think is, because I believe of him being toxically masculine, is that he's been knocked down a peg on the power scale. I've got the World card underneath here. It's like it completes a cycle. And I think what this is that he may be hitting peak Paxton. Like he's hit peak authority, and when the Supreme Court rules against him, he's knocked down. And this to me is indicating he's hit peak authority. He's gone as high as he can go, and he can't. It's like a ceiling. I want to say glass ceiling, but it's like a ceiling he can't penetrate. In the past, it's the Ten of Swords. I think, by all accounts, he shouldn't be in office right now. All the stuff that he did in those previous court cases should have had him impeached. He still has a bunch of federal cases coming after him. And I think he knows his time as Attorney General and as a free man is limited. He's on borrowed time. And he's trying to do what he can while he's on this borrowed time. There's the Star card again. Oh, God. Is this even about Paxton? This may not be about Paxton. This could be, again, that decision of allowing her to have an abortion or not, and going with the more compassionate route to allow her to have the abortion. And in the past, there was, the way the law was written, there was no chance, but the court's evaluating it and giving women expanded rights. Oh, wow. And now we've got the Wheel of Fortune. This starts a process of undoing things in Texas. this starts a process of more cases being able to come in that are a little bit more compassionate. The exceptions to the all-out ban on it. And there's going to be a fight to try and keep everything in place, to not allow for these changes to happen. And there's that Page of Swords again. But more women are going to get abortions. So I was asking about how this impacts Paxton, but Spirit's not telling me that. It's telling me that Texas is at a crossroads right now, and it looks like they're going to go with the path of empowering women's rights within the current space of the law, which took them away. But they're looking at empowering women again, giving them the ability to choose and allowing for more and more exceptions. That's the overarching energy is the Wheel of Fortune. The underarching energy is the world. So this is a process that's going forward and will come to a conclusion. That I think this law is too restrictive. They're saying, I say this law is too restrictive and women have more rights to do things on this. I do think from this reading that things will work out for that woman. I don't know how they're going to work out for Paxton. If you take that same reading for Paxton, he's hit his apex. And going forward, he's going to start losing some power. That Four of Pentacles would be him trying to hold on to power as much as he can. But more and more stuff is going to happen that's going to erode his authoritarianism. The feds should be coming for him. Let's go ahead and ask if the feds are coming for him. What's going on with the little four-carder? What's going on with the federal cases, the federal investigations against Paxton? Just because he avoided impeachment and being removed from office in Texas doesn't mean he's out of the crosshairs of the feds. Okay. What's the Fed investigation of Paxton looking like? We've got a 30-minute video here. All right, for Carter. He's going to get offers he doesn't like. I guess they're going to continue working on him. Yep, ships coming in. Offers he doesn't like. Betrayal and heartbreak. Incarceration. Get ready, pal. Things are happening quickly. As far as the federal investigation goes, I think he's getting information he doesn't like. He's hearing about things coming in here. And maybe the Fed case is picking up a little bit of speed. And he doesn't like that. I don't think he's going to serve out his full term. There's disappointment here that he's not going to get to do everything he wants to do. The feds are coming, and they've got the goods, and he knows they have the goods. He's waiting for them. He's looking over his shoulder because it could happen literally any time. So expect, it may not be tomorrow or next week or even next month, but expect that the feds, looks like from this, the feds are bearing down on him and he knows it. And he's trying to, I don't know what he's trying to do. Just in his death throes? I don't know. Maybe he feels like if he can do this, he can build up enough power and popularity that the feds don't go after him, or they're scared to go after him for civil unrest or something like that. I don't understand how people do this sort of thing. It's not that difficult to not be a crappy person. It's actually not that difficult to be a good person. It really isn't. You should try it sometime. Anyways, so in the end, what do I see? I think she will get the abortion. I think it will be allowed to happen in Texas. She may have it done outside of Texas, but I think the Supreme Court in Texas is going to rule on her favor, and this is going to open the door for more cases and more exceptions to Texas's restrictive abortion bill. Hopefully to the point where the Democrats can take over in 2025 and codify women's rights. Anyways, thank you for watching this video. Thank you for supporting my channel. I appreciate it. Thank you for all your kind words and your likes and your shares and everything you do to help boost this channel in the YouTube algorithm. To new viewers and new subscribers, welcome to the channel. I hope you found this reading insightful, and I'll catch you on the next one. Take care.